Well, so we have to do the newspapers. Kojo and Mamavi, good morning to all of you.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
I'm well. How are you?
No, it's okay. It's okay. All right, so we have to start. We'll start off with you, Kojo.
Okay, all right. Well, I've got the Daily Guide and the Statesman this morning. Do you want me to go straight into the story?
Yeah, you can straight away.
All right, then. So, banner headline this morning on the front page of the Daily Guide, Baumia launches 100,000 housing project. Vice President's picture there with that story. Details on page 3. Also this morning, Shraj closes in on PPA boss, given 10 days. Apparently, it's 10 days to respond to the allegations made. Autopsy on Otumfuo's chief underway. That murder case continues to unfold in the Ashanti region. And staying there for the last headline this morning from the Daily Guide's front page. Asantehene marks Akwesidai in London. And as you know, it makes no difference where the Asantehene is. On Akwesidai, the processes will be the same. He will sit in court and people will come to him and seek his
This time it's in London.
forth. Yes.
I love that.
The Asantes of London get the opportunity to engage with him on this occasion. Right now, people want company to fail. That's according to Kevin De Bruyne.
Vincent's company.
Company, yes. All right, we will play like Kotoko. That's according to the coach. I should hope so, since they are Kotoko.
Yeah.
This is a story about Asante Kotoko. Okay, PGA Goldfields Golf Rocks Tema and GEC Open returns. So that's it for the Daily Guide this morning. And I'll do the Statesman real quick. Dankwa Institute on the financial sector cleanup. Let me guess, they think it's a good idea. Shraj directs PPA ex-boss to respond to conflict of interest charges. And $300 million Pwalugu Dam deal sealed. Details of that on page 2. The Vice President is the one who apparently led stakeholders to start work in November. That's something I would like to talk about. It's important. It affects a few of the places that I've visited. Shall I wait until we've done all the headlines and then we'll get into it?
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So I do the Go Street Business. The Go Street Business has on the front page. Securities and Exchange Commission plans 20-fold capital hike for fund managers, currently at 100,000 Ghana cedis, being increased to 2 million. It is. Business registrations rise further. First half 2019 as economy formalization initiatives pay off. Okay. Government commences energy sector reforms. You have all the forex numbers as well. The U.S. dollar in relation to the Ghana cedi going for at a buying rate 5.2 Ghana cedis and then selling at 5.2 again 8. Okay, so the first one is 5.27 and then the pound sterling the next one I'll be looking at the pound sterling going for 6.47 Ghana cedis. That's at a buying rate and then at a selling rate of 6.48. Okay, let's go to the back page. Steel industry receives major boost from B5 Plus new company inaugurated. We're told that it's worth $80 million, expected to generate, you know how we say it, thousands of jobs, 4,500 blah blah blah. All right, let's go to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Daily Dispatch has on the front page, per UG Political Science Department survey, Akufo-Addo could win with an NDC majority in Parliament. And that's the story on page 2 of the paper. I don't know. Okay. More on NDC primaries also. You find all these pages 3, 4, and 9 of the Daily Dispatch. Sam George accuses MPP of sponsoring his opponent. Almost like agreeing with the Ashanti regional chairman of the MPP, Chairman 1. I paid fees for people before primaries, John Dumelo. We had some discussion around this about monetization.
You said that on this show, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. The Today newspaper has the story. Go ahead with Ahoba Kese Festival, court declares, and then BOG's $62 million transfer. The hard truth about the transfer. He has a headline picture of the Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Addison, and it's all in relation to GN Bank and sport actions and inactions that were taken by shareholder or shareholders and then the directors. The Informer says Ghana's democracy in danger as monetization takes center stage. And he has attached pictures of Freddie Blay, chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, and Stephen Intim. Vote buying rocks NDC primaries, but resolute Clotte Colley delegates show way by defending party ideals. An election of political leaders, vote incompetence, not fame. Varsity Dawn tells, again, that curl out from the publications or the post of the professor at the University of Ghana Political Science Department. NDC parliamentary primaries, again, the fallout. Delegates speak as arrogance is reduced to ground zero, the paper says. And the last one I'll look at, the new publisher. The new publisher has on the front page, 2 men hang dead on Kumasi trees. We have many trees in Kumasi, but okay. So my dad tells me, okay, and then we have Akufo-Addo must resign. Front page.
Reading the headline.
Yeah,
but it's right there on the screen, though.
I know. You know, you try to swerve Disney sometimes, because sometimes you don't like Mickey Mouse. So we have Akufo-Addo must resign. Nyaho Tamaklo, we're told that is one of the leading members of the party. Was there when the MPP was founded. Okay. And then replying 10 days, Shraj orders don't call me PPA. I wanted to ask you, Office of Special Prosecutor, you were supposed to see him in 10 days also.
He asked him to come to his office this week.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, Mama V, please go ahead.
I'll do 3 papers, the Daily Graphic, the Times, and the Finder. So let's do the graphic first. Front page of the Daily Graphic, here we go. Cloth dealers cash in on new JHS uniforms, but GES yet to make fabrics available. Imports of the story, well, it's just some few shops who have the stock of the new uniform, and they're taking advantage of it. They're calling on GS to make the fabrics available. I don't know how exactly. I thought it's the printing houses who do that. A couple sue Ideal Capital over locked up cash, and the figure is about 2.3 million Ghana cedis. They've also petitioned the Council of States, of which a partner of Ideal is on that Council of States. So, and there's a response in the details of that story. You can check it out. It's on page 16 of the paper. Special prosecutor summons 2 over alleged corruption. And the 2 in the story is the Scholarship Secretariat and the Get Fund. So the special prosecutor is looking at whether or not the 2 have used the office for personal gains. Details of that story also in the paper today. In the center spread, 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development opens today. Education reforms will weed out unqualified teachers. SNIT to issue statements of account to contributors. And they say they're going to do this via text message and email, so you can know in real time if your employer is paying the exact amount that they are supposed to in terms of deductions, if they are paying what they say they've deducted or if they are paying at all. So the timelines from October 1st to December 31, 2019, statements of accounts of contributors via email or text messages. We will be monitoring. Back page of the paper. Northern Regional Security Council declares war on criminals, and new office for South Municipal Assembly inaugurated. Let's jump into the Ghanaian Times now. Front page. National Food Buffer Stock Company poised to help farmers. 65 houses burnt, livestock killed at Bakurigu by unidentified men. Details of that story is on page 3. At least 65 houses at Bakurigu, a Fulani community in the Karaga districts of the northern region, have been burnt by some unidentified men. The armed men also shot and killed livestock, particularly cattle and sheep belonging to the Fulanis, and set ablaze some motorcycle, bicycles, and money. The Northern Region Police, PRO, Yusuf Mohammed Tanko, confirmed the story to the Times in an interview yesterday. So they said that 4 Fulanis who sustained gunshot and cutlass wounds were receiving treatment at the Tamalgu Community Base Health Planning and Service Compound. You can continue. to read. There's also 6 perish, others injured in horrific accident on Nadoli Wa Highway. The dead were deposited at the Wa Regional Hospital mortuary, and the injured who have been admitted at the Nadoli District Hospital were responding to treatment, according to the story and the details here. So you can continue to read. According to Inspector Boateng, the vehicle entered a pothole along the highway, somersaulted and landed on its side rather, and 6 persons died on the spot. Also, police grabbed 6 in connection with Talituma attack is on page 3, but back on the front page. Northern Region declares war against criminals. Police military to keep 24-hour surveillance on hot spots. Here's what's in the center spread of the paper today. GABA holds 6th quadrennial delegates conference in Tema. The influx of war and Go-Wicks and ready-made beauty products on the market has reduced patronage to hairdressing and beauty salons. Interesting. Details of the stories in the center spread of the paper. National Food Buffer Stock Company poised to help farmers. Details of that story here. And the Northern Region declaring war against criminals. Back page. Program to nurture graduates for placement in civil service launched. Escado celebrate Kuntum is also another story on the back page. The final one for me is the Finder. Lotto war deepens. Lotto marketing companies back NLA's license regime, but Ghana Lotto Operators Association is angry. Government committed to SDGs Agenda 2013, according to the Chief of Staff. Remunerates. What did I say? Remunerate on the score of efficiency, according to Senior Minister. Aflao Immigration Service rescued 57 women from trafficking. Ghana Hotels Association calls for synchronization of regulatory bodies. Essentially, they are saying this results in them paying a lot of taxes. They want it all consolidated. If you like, you can check out the details of that story in the Finder newspaper. That'll be it, really.
Okay, any other stories you want to touch on, or shall I look at this one?
Yeah, take a look at it.
Go for it.
Yes,
okay, so $300 million Pualugu Dam deal sealed. This is according to the Daily Statesman this morning. Vice President leads stakeholders to start work in November. So you guys remember the first day of the Ghana Grant, before the riding even began, when we came up against this flooded road, which was as a result of the flooding of the Bagre Dam. This story has made me remember that, because for me, what struck me most was the inconvenience to the people who live in that area. I mean, we were just trying to get across, and for us, it was a massive inconvenience. We had to travel 7.5 hours the other way around just to get to Wa. But then it occurred to me that the people who live there, this must be a nightmare for them, a constant nightmare. Well, this will be great news for them. Because the idea is that this Pualugu Dam is going to reduce the effect of the flooding. When Bagre is spilt, there will be an intake into Pualugu, which means that all the areas that normally get flooded will not. And the water will also go to very sensible use. Okay, so first of all, they'll be able to produce about 60 megawatts of power from it. At least 16.5 megawatts of that will be firm, continuous capacity, which is very important. But beyond that, they will also be able to do some damming. Okay, 250,000 hectares of land can be irrigated from the Pualugu Dam. It's also going to be, that will make it Ghana's biggest bulk irrigation scheme. But it's also going to boost national rice production through irrigation by up to 117,000 tons. Those are the forecasts. And then maize production by about 49,000 tons. Of course, rice and maize are two of the biggest crops for those particular areas. In fact, maize, maybe about 60–70% of all the maize produced in Ghana comes from these areas where the Bagre Dam wreaks havoc on the land every time it's spilt, at least twice a year for the past couple of decades. All right, so this is great news for tomato, sugarcane, sweet potatoes, sweet peppers and onions. And in reality, it's great news for the people of this area. Not only is the flooding problem being solved, but it's creating a massive economy there for them in terms of agriculture. And of course, the power supply is not a small thing. There are many communities still in that part of the country that do not get steady power. Some have not even.
So the same money will be used in creating the power supply?
So the $300 million is the entire cost, I believe. No, that can't be the entire cost. This is sort of the first amount being dedicated to the construction
of the dam. Then after
dam,
that,
yes.
you need some extra money to build the hydro stuff?
No, I believe that this is all part of the cost of the dam. The irrigation, then the 2 turbines, which are going to be. So the project will also have a powerhouse consisting of 2 turbines with 60 megawatts of installed capacity and 16.5 megawatts of firm continuous capacity, as well as a 15-kilometer overhead line to export power to an existing transmission line. So this has all been factored in to the cost of the project, which then reminds me that, that indicates that is probably going to cost more than 300 million to do it all. But let's not forget where this is happening. Pualugu. Unfortunately, whenever Pualugu is mentioned, what comes to my mind is these projects that have been sent there to die. You know, the tomato project, which was a great idea, just like this, but just never saw the light of day. This is a project that started all the way back in, I believe, 2002. Okay, and we're in 2019 now, and the vice president is now able to gather $300 million for it to begin. So you see, projects sometimes in Pualugu just never see the light of day until sometimes it's too late. I hope that this doesn't suffer the same fate now that some money has been mobilized for it. Let's see how far 300 million takes us, and whether we don't end up coming against another brick wall, and then Pualugu again becomes a cemetery of good intentions.
Now, we have to say the Pualugu factory in itself was started in First Republic. And in the meantime, since that revamp in the early 2000s by the Kufuor administration, the intention was that we will be in a position to add grower services. The outgrower will mean that then the farmers around those communities and others who were interested, just like we had intention for the sugarcane factory in, is it Commander? No, okay. To be in a position to also help other farmers. But the thing is, we don't seem to create the various synergy in between from what the factory will need and then also help the outgrowers. So that also we have the policy intention of either limiting the importation so that whatever it is that is produced ultimately will help the local economy. The thing is, this is not going to solve the perennial problems of flooding in the area. It is going to solve a large chunk. Because if you look at what the experts have been saying, the topography of northern Ghana is very low lying. And when the water seeps into it, it goes into other areas. I hope that will create the necessary channels as well in areas that will not be within the catchment of the dam, so that we can make good use of whatever it is that we can collect by way of water, especially when there's a spillage from whatever is coming from Burkina Faso, so that farmers also can get a lot. We know what the farmers will need, the irrigation is needed, but it's the actions that we don't take to make sure the farmers get what they have to.
It kind of reminds you also of how difficult it is sometimes to get infrastructure done in this country. It's not just a problem of this government. But it's been a problem for a long time. Rallying, mobilizing money for infrastructure.
Exactly.
It always seems to come second or third or fourth to other things, you know, sort of expenditure-related things like wages and so forth. And it gets difficult sometimes to see your country moving forward, because so much of it depends on the creation of appropriate infrastructure, and when it's so far down on the priority list, you know, this is what happens. So thank goodness it's the turn of Pualugu, and they get their share, well, $300 million share of the national cake to start something important. Let's hope it's enough to get them far enough, and that they don't end up falling.
Exactly. Mama, you have something to discuss?
Yeah, this uniform issue is one of interest, certainly. My children are going back to school next week. You know, the GS changed the uniform for the junior high school students.
To give them confidence.
And apparently so. And they're going back to school September 10, but the fabric is not easily on the markets.
You mean it's not available?
So it's not available, but a few of the stores have it. If you read the graphic story, it says that those who have it in stock are not saying where they got it from, but officially, GS has not made it available on the market. I guess that would be some kind of direction to say either Printex or one of our printing,
the main suppliers,
would manufacture or something like that, so people will know exactly where to go. I think that's what's not available, because I was thinking, what would GS do? They outdoor the thing. What else can they do?
Okay,
but they have to give the contract to a certain
and so
printer, right?
Yes, I remember the first time when there was a changeover from us wearing the normal school uniforms and then having the the brown and the cream, yes, and the GS had made available largely the cloth and even sold for many public schools. I wasn't going to a public school at the time. But I know that for some of my friends who were going to a public school, the GES had given contracts to people, and it was the PNDC period, and they had sold for people. They had sold for schools, and then there was the subsequent offloading or the intake to the parents, and those children used it. I don't know
so just reading another line gives me a bit of clarity. So this is supposed to be available for both local and foreign companies to manufacture. We haven't restricted
so
it.
it means that we're leaving it to the market.
We're leaving it to the market.
So where did these shops get it from? Who manufactured
No,
it?
they're not saying, and I'm sure they probably went to China or one of those, because this was displayed and they've captured. You remember when it was first outdoored? So once you see the fabric, you can be smart and just go out there and get it printed.
Well, I think it would still be helpful to get some guidance from GES. If Cassandra Chumanfofo is watching, please give us some education here. Good morning, by the way. We would like to understand, is it just a free-for-all? Anybody can look at the thing with their eyes and then go and print something that they think is representative of that, and we are okay to buy it? Or is there a prescribed design that and a prescribed standard, quality standard that this fabric must meet before it becomes acceptable in schools? Can you give us some guidance so that when we are buying, we can do so with confidence?
Well, I will not be surprised.
Tell us where they got their fabric from. Is it okay for us to buy from them?
They definitely got the designs from the GES.
No, it's not. I'm asking where they got the fabric and if it meets a standard. Is there a standard? Even a standard?
Great question.
What I remember, I went to a public junior high school, and when they were changing the uniforms, it wasn't compulsory. So you could change if you could afford. Do you get what I mean? It wasn't at a go. Because I used my old Kokonte uniform.
Which year was this?
I can't remember. I can't remember the
because
year. But what I'm saying is
as far as I remember, we had the new educational reform.
Yes, but it was
from 87, 88 to 89. So I'm trying to remember.
I didn't go to JHS in 88.
No. So that's when we had the Ebron Katie, and you understand. So that's when we had it. So I'm sure by the time you were going to your public school, the uniform was already in place.
I said they changed it, but I'm saying is that
they never changed it.
So which one? What are you talking about?
Is this the one that was there before this new one is coming? The one that the children, back in the late 80s. That's when it came into force. So I'm sure your parents didn't have uniforms. It's a serious issue.
So
it's an
what I am
indictment
thinking,
on the educational.
It would be good for us to clarify this with the GS. But what I'm thinking is that even though they've given a new uniform, if you cannot readily afford it, you still could use the old one. That's what I'm thinking.
In that case, how do they achieve their goal of boosting confidence?
When it's not available.
Yeah, if I have to buy it for my child and I can't afford, but the child has the old one,
but
I'm not sure anybody will stop the child from using it.
In order to boost your child's confidence. If you
so it means that the parents have to afford this?
Yeah, it's removing that level playing field. You're actually reducing the confidence of those who come from poorer homes, because they will not be able to wear the new uniform, and it will be clear to the whole world.
Well, we have to clarify.
They are unable to wear the new uniform.
Government subsidizes some of these uniforms for some selected schools across.
It is still going to cost parents money.
Yes, for those who are who are in schools that have not been covered. Yes.
So if your parents don't have money, it will show in your uniform. Or in your lack of it.
But this is one leg of the issue now. You went to the market yesterday.
Yeah, I went to the market.
Because the new curriculum, we've been talking about it, but in reality, it is not out.
At all.
So you can't buy books. And I had a parent call me sometime this week. And usually, I think like 3 weeks or so to reopen, and they'll do a book fair where you can buy. books for your child if you don't want to go to the markets yourself to go and do it. But this time, and schools reopening when? Next week?
Yes, for the private school. The public schools, it's
the week after.
Yes,
books are not
13th.
out. So, you know, she had called to essentially complain. Yeah.
And when you go to the market, you find that there's virtually no business. And the business of the publishers, as well as those who tend to do the retail of these textbooks and the other materials, only happens in a year, this time of the year, when the children are going to the next academic year.
Yeah.
And so there's virtually nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm told that apparently the schools had not given any list. They had given some lists, but it's almost like a tentative list of what you have to buy for your ward or your child. And I don't know how we keep saying that we're doing a transition to a new academic curricula for the next year when it's still not available. I don't know what you...
we have to follow this up with the
education service.
With the Ghana Education Service, but also with NACA particularly, because with the new curriculum, we know that they are the people handling it.
So basically, if I go to the shop today to buy books for my child who's going to the next year in this new
the basic school,
I can't get the books.
You don't have a book list. You don't have a textbook list. So you won't know which books to buy.
Exactly.
You don't have a textbook list
to buy for the new curriculum.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have the old ones, but for which
since we're changing the curriculum.
Yes, so which is useless for the next academic year.
And you're thinking NACA is the one that has to do this? NACA, sorry.
Well, NACA will have to say something to us, and then we will know exactly where to go, because they've
designed the new curriculum.
So they will know what.
So they will know which books to go with it. Was that part of the mandate given them? I guess it is, right? Or is it?
Well, they designed the curriculum, but how the procurement and approvals for the content?
That's another level. I'm just asking about the decision about which books to use in teaching the new curriculum. That decision. Will it also be
education
NACA's
service?
decision?
I'm thinking that if you took the decision to change the curriculum, if you say you're going to do Cambridge, for instance, it would come with certain items, because you can't just use any book. So I want to believe that it's the same committee or the same group that will come up with what textbook would be appropriate for the new curriculum that we're pursuing.
I guess, especially because we've designed it, and it's not like we're adopting an existing curriculum from somewhere that comes with its existing textbooks.
And the problem is that they haven't finished the approvals, I'm told.
Which approvals?
You know, they have to approve the text for the printing. They haven't finished at that level. You know, you bring a copy, they have to approve the content, and then you bring a sample.
So they are now writing the new textbooks. That's what you're saying.
Some of the publishers have written. It hasn't been approved yet.
The new curriculum that they are going to teach, there aren't existing books.
Exactly.
That are suitable.
There aren't existing books at all?
None has been approved so far.
So there could be?
No, there's none. There's none has been approved. We've had drafts written, but it's not been approved.
Reopening next week?
Yes, next week.
Trying to see if our production team could call
Cassandra,
Dr. Prince Ama. Yes, Dr. Prince Ama. I would see if we can get hold of him. It will be good.
Speak to JHS. I think so, because even if this is something that NACA is responsible for, I think they are doing this as a job for the JHS, and the JHS is responsible ultimately for the education service. So if we are behind schedule, it is a JHS responsibility. So I think in addition to getting the specifics from NACA, we can also speak to JHS and find out where they are in terms of their own timeline, their own planning timeline. Are we on schedule? Are we behind when it comes to the textbooks?
Oh, definitely next week. I'm not sure.
Oh, but our production team tried to call the spokesperson for JHS and the director. They haven't gotten through yet. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well.
Do we have time to do My John Line, or that's it? We make way for sports?
We have to do sports.
All right. Day 3 today of the U.S. Open. Some giants fell, but certainly not my favorite. They're still standing strong. Stay with us. We've got updates of the U.S. Open and the English Premier League. Somebody's leaving Manchester United. Details coming up.